Welcome to Malaga Airport, the gateway to the Costa del Sol. I'm here to try a new airline for me, Air Europa, on a Spanish domestic flight to Madrid, the Spanish capital, on one of their E-jets. Let's see how they compare to the likes of Iberia Express. Join me on this trip and welcome to Bradley Penny Aviation. Malaga Airport is the gateway to the Costa del Sol of Spain and served over 20 million passengers in 2019 alone. Malaga Airport mainly caters for tourists and tends to be very busy in the summer months. The check-in area here is vast to cope with this. The Air Europa desks can be found through doors A and B and are a lot less subtle than their nearby neighbours. And in no time at all, due to the short queues, we headed through into security. The security experience wasn't particularly great. The large amounts of people weren't handled very well and nobody really knew where they were going. The duty-free store, however, was very vibrant and welcoming and possesses a very modern design throughout. It has most items from perfume to alcohol and even something for an in-flight snack, although you won't catch me spending €10 on a Toblerone. Once through, you'll find yourself right in the heart of Spanish shopping, from Super Skunk to Desert Gual, although one of my favourite shops, Petra Mora, was sadly gone. Upstairs, you'll find most of the eateries here at Malaga Airport. I was feeling far from peckish, especially in this terminal. It was like being in a greenhouse. The lack of air conditioning was shocking. So we headed over to the gate area and awaited the arrival of our aircraft. The gate area here is vast. This specific section serves all Spanish domestic flights and most of the European services. Well, that was a quick tour around Malaga Airport. It's certainly not a bad airport, especially for the tourists that come through, with a decent selection of shops and restaurants on offer. As usual, let's take a look at some of the views of the aircraft outside. It's that time, let's go and find our Air Europa E195 and fly to Madrid. Today's aircraft was a 10-year-old Embraer E195 LR, which stands for its long-range capabilities. However, as you'll find out a little later on in the video to why this aircraft should only operate domestic flights. This specific aircraft was registered Echo Charlie-Lima Kilo Mike and is nicknamed Guardia Civil. Let's get ready for the departure. Air Europa is the third largest Spanish airline, operating a mix of domestic, European and long-haul flights. Today it's only a quick shuttle flight, which they use the E-jets and the ATR aircraft, depending on the demand of course. However, they do operate a much larger fleet of both 737 and 787 Dreamliner aircraft for those longer services. However though, what's the experience like on a much shorter domestic flight? Let's check out the Air Europa experience. As we've now reached our cruising altitude and the seatbelt signs have now been switched off, let's take a look around the Air Europa Embraer E195. The Air Europa E195 is laid out in a 4 abreast configuration, which seats 2 passengers either side of the aisle. The aircraft does lack space in some areas, which could be uncomfortable for those taller passengers, especially on longer flights. The toilets, however, were adequate for this short journey and offered baby changing. The Air Europa E195 looks really fresh with the white and blue design running throughout the cabin. But what can you expect at the seat area on board? Let's go and take a look now. Welcome to the seat area on board. At the top, you'll find a QR code which will link to the airline's website. Below, you'll find a tray table with a very well placed cup holder. Overall, it was very large, but it didn't have an adjustment, although in my opinion, it wasn't needed. The seat back pocket contained the all-important safety card and a sick bag. The pocket, however, was badly damaged and was very unclean, which was really unacceptable. The legroom was adequate but could be uncomfortable for those taller passengers. I do have to give some credit for the crew for completing a full cabin service on this 40-minute flight. I ordered a Coke, which was very nice. The napkin branding was a nice addition. Now commenced our descent down into Madrid. Be sure to stick around to the end of the video for my final thoughts on today's trip. But for now, enjoy the sunset arrival. Today we were lucky enough to deboard by stairs, which was great fun, especially seeing the true size of the aircraft from the ground. Of course, this meant we had to take a quick 5-minute bus journey over to the Madrid airport's Terminal 3. Terminal 3 is quite an old terminal and its age can definitely be seen throughout, with rather low ceilings and not a whole lot of lighting. However, it was perfectly adequate for just a quick walkthrough. So welcome to the Spanish capital of Madrid after that flight with Air Europa. This is the part of the review where I share with you some of my final thoughts on today's trip. Kicking things off then, down in Malaga, it's a decent airport primarily for tourists, but had a decent selection of shops and restaurants available for departing passengers. The flight itself was pretty good, but what I will say is though the crew weren't particularly active in the cabin, probably because of how short the flight was, around about 40 minutes. Next time I will definitely try out Iberia Express. Thank you so much for watching to the end of this review. If you happen to enjoy it or if you learned something from it, please be sure to leave a like, comment what you thought of it down below, and of course subscribe to the channel for future content just like this. That's all from me today. Take care and stay safe.